Hey boys and girls, Doug Giles here. It's Warriors Rich
and Wildmen. What's happening, Doug?
August was one heck of a month for you, for me, and for the planet. You know, I had some great things also happen in the month of August, but I think it's fair to say, man, that August could go into the month from hell category. What do you think, buddy?
August was definitely one of the roughest months of my life. I'll throw that out there.
Yeah, so for those who haven't noticed, it's Rich and I pretty much took an entire month off. I had a project at the behest of President Trump to submit a few ideas for a fully commissioned, sanctioned portrait for him. So it's like, I got to focus. I got to crank these things out. So I'm going to take the next, 3 weeks, 4 weeks off in order to get these in by the deadline. You and Annie were set up to get on the Bat Motor Scooters and ride, right?
Yep,
yeah, go to the Super Spreader event.
Supposed to ride 3,200 miles, man, to from Arizona to South Dakota and back.
Yeah, so that wasn't in the cards. So why don't you bring the Warriors and Wildmen listener to speed in regards to what happened?
So a couple weeks before I was supposed to leave for Sturgis, which I was leaving on the 6th, the 5th or the 6th of August was the plan. A couple weeks before that, got COVID. It's like, well, I told Annie, perfect. I got COVID. I'll be over COVID just in time for our 15-day vacation. So that was the plan. So I stayed in Scottsdale by myself. She was in Yuma working. And a couple days before Sturgis, she came up here. I was feeling better, feeling great. And the night before Sturgis, I did decide not to ride. My friends were still going to ride, but I borrowed a trailer. And I was going to put my bike in the trailer and hook it up to the truck and tow it. So I'd have a couple more days to rest and all that. But I was feeling fine over COVID. And so the night before, I went outside, was working on my bike, and got my tour pack, which is probably, 50 or 60 pounds. It's awkward. It's a little heavy, but it's mostly awkward. So I got it off the wall and started trying to line it up, put it on my bike, and I started to get dizzy. And I thought, what the heck is going on? So then I felt like I was going to pass out. So I balanced it on the seat, and I headed inside, told Annie, and I sat on the couch, and she said, hey, you're gray right now.
Gray?
Yeah, she said, your skin's gray. And I was like, what? So she went and got the pulse ox, which we'll talk about that. I know you have one of those, but we'll tell people that they should get one. And so she got this little pulse ox that measures your O2 levels just by putting that on your finger. She put it on my finger, and it should be 95 or 96. Mine was 73. And I had no idea. I had no clue. And so 70, when you hit 70, you're at risk, from my understanding, you're at risk for heart attack, stroke, brain damage. So Annie says, you need to go to the hospital. And I'm thinking, I need to go to Sturgis tomorrow because I'm somewhat stupid.
So what's the pulse? So what's the 70? What is that registering or monitoring?
Yeah, so that's this little thing right here. Everybody needs to get one of these. You should have one at your house anyway. They're $28, Pulse Ox, and you can get them at Walgreens, CVS, order it on Amazon. They're all about the same, no big deal. And you just stick your finger in there like that, push the button, and then while you're hanging out, it'll give you a readout of the oxygen saturation level. Sorry, still trying to breathe. Oxygen, like mine's 92 right now. No, for a normal person, 92 would be low. But I run low anyway. That's a normal number for me. So a normal person would be 95 up to probably 97 or 98. That's normal. When you get down in the 80s, it's not good. You get down in the 70s, you have some serious problems.
Yeah, you know what's weird, man, as I approach the 60-year mark, I hate the fact that I got to have these freaking gadgets all around me. Mary Margaret, she bought about a year ago this blood pressure kit. You know, the thing you strap on your arm.
Yep.
and she got some other shit that uh, tells me whether I'm about to take the big dirt nap or not. And then when I got COVID during the month from hell, I also got the pulse ox meter, and I had two of them actually. I have people throwing them at me.
Yeah,
It's kind of like nose hair clippers now. Everybody's giving me this kind of stuff. I'm not liking it, man. I got to be honest with you. I'm not digging it at all. Everybody's like, I mean, they will ask me like on a daily basis. It's like, and they mean well, and God bless them and stuff. It's like, what's your pulse ox today? It's like, I'm not doing this shit every day. I'm not going to do it.
Right.
My pulse ox is 96/84, and that was at my worst COVID day. So I appreciate the love, but I'm not going to be texting everybody back and forth.
When you have COVID, you have to have one of these. And you need to have it by where you're sitting. And every hour, maybe a couple hours, you'd stick it on your finger, and in 5 seconds, it tells you what you're at. You just throw it off to the side. If you have COVID. I mean, not on a normal day. Nobody cares.
But if you put it in the drawer afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. But if you have COVID, if something's going to kill you, that's it right there, that number. So that night, Annie said, and my wife is awesome. You know. She's just an awesome person because she's very concerned and urging me to go to the hospital, but she's not pushing hard. She's just, I'm really nervous about this. That's a bad number. And me being, again, somewhat not that smart, because we live about 2,400 feet up on this mountain, I said, well, let's just jump in the car, drive down the mountain to 1,200 feet, see if I can catch my breath and see if the number comes up. That makes sense to me, right? When you're dealing with your health and those type of numbers, it doesn't make sense. It's stupid. But she said, okay. We went down there. Nah, it's a no-go. Went to the hospital. They said, oh, yeah, we're checking you in the emergency room right now. And I said, okay. And for the first time in my life, Doug, I got admitted to the hospital. For the first time in my life, I rode in a wheelchair. I've never ridden in a wheelchair except for when I was like 10 and we were playing with one, trying to pop wheelies. Never been in a wheelchair. Weirdest thing in the world. And I went in there, and they said, you're being admitted to the hospital. And I was like, oh, well, will I go home in the morning? And the nurse looked at me like, maybe you're not aware of what's going on here. But to me, I'm like, I want to go home, right? So are you supposed to read minds? I mean, how would you be aware of what's going on when they're not telling me yet?
Exactly. What the hell's going on?
Yeah. And to be fair, at this point, it's probably 1 a.m. And when I got to my room and everything, it's 2 a.m. And then they said, we need to, they did all this blood work and stuff. And they said, we need to send you for a CAT scan immediately of your lungs because all the markers are pointing that you have blood clots in your lungs. Well, you don't have to be a medical genius to know that blood clot in your lungs, unless there's seriously things happening, that's a wrap. So now I'm riding on a wheelchair to go get a CAT scan, knowing that my life is kind of hanging in the balance of what this thing's going to say, right? So they slap me in the tube, shoot me up with dye, get back. The nurse comes, pulls up the file. She said, well, I know the doctor hasn't looked at these yet, but I want you to know there's no blood clots in your lungs. And I was thankful for that. She told me that instead of making me wait, right? So then I realized, hey, this might be a lot more serious than what I thought. That's when I realized this could be bad. So next day, talked to the doctor. Doctor said, hey, man, let's try to get you out of here in 5 days. That's our goal. And I was thinking, 5 days? I was thinking about going home today, right? And he said, yeah, we're going to get you on steroids. He said, by the way, COVID's gone. You already have the antibodies. You're good to go. So I was over COVID and then got pneumonia, COVID pneumonia. The first day in the hospital had 100% taste and smell. And so I got that back. But he said, you got pneumonia. That's what we got to deal with. So that's how that started.
If your wife's a crap cook, that could be a good thing. You can't smell, you can't taste it,
But my wife's an amazing cook. I married Margaret too.
Yeah, some guys are like, why can't I lose my hearing so I don't have to hear,
Yes.
complain all the time?
Yes.
Yeah, it's so I got COVID on August 10th, and I wouldn't say that it hit me like a Mack truck, but definitely bowled me over. And so we have some like old COVID medicine laying around from the last tour and stuff like that, and I've got a couple other buddies that are pitching me tablets and stuff. And so I told people all the time, they're like, do you have any kind of aversion to taking, X, Y, or Z? It's like, listen, if I'm sick and you tell me that if I eat this tablet, I'm going to be better, and I know that that tablet is constructed of Chihuahua droppings, I'm going to eat it.
Let's go.
Care. I don't want to sit here ad nauseum, ad infinitum, dripping like a faucet and stuff like that. So within a day and a half, Rich, I was asymptomatic, boom, 100% back to, being the mouthy, obnoxious cat that I am. Started in on a couple of new paintings, and my wife went to fill a prescription at this little country town that we live by at the H-E-B supermarket, and came back with some kind of I think it's an epsilon variant. I think it's a little bit more aggressive than the Delta variant. I don't know. I don't know Greek. I don't even know if there's a test for any of this crap. So anyway, it floored us on Thursday night after I thought I was completely out of the woods by Wednesday night. And it just got weird for about another week. But, I got to tell you, and a lot of people, and I know that they did the same for you, they prayed for you and prayed you out of a big, shit sling and stuff, way more egregious than mine. And people checking up on me and freaking great. Finally find out that, there's a couple of people that love you. And what I was sitting there in my bad condition, man, and I get a phone call. No, I'm sorry. I get an Instagram message, and my buddy Presley Strutz, who ran these huge conferences in South Carolina, North Carolina area, and I've spoken at him. I mean, just a world-class dude, 64 years old, boom, dead, COVID.
Whoa.
I got another buddy, and he wasn't, Presley, he wasn't like an Iron Man, competitor or anything like that. But he wasn't somebody that I said had, 2 to 6 comorbidities, that took him out. And actually, his family and his lawyer are fighting against the hospital because they did some crap to him that they did not want to have done to him. And like I said, I mean, he had his ticket called at 64. And dude, you won't find a more vivacious, laughing, fun-going cat than Presley. And then locally, my buddy Carl, here I am, boo-hoo, I'm sick. I'm only operating at 40, 50%. And my buddy Carl gets COVID, has 105 fever, gets admitted to the hospital and has a stroke, and now he can't talk or walk. So, and then in light of all that stuff, I'm sitting there looking at what's going on in Afghanistan, and I'm like, you know what? It sucks what happened to me, but in the grand scheme of things, and I'm only talking about 2 things from an immediacy standpoint that is in my life in the last week or 2.
Right.
Can you imagine just the mayhem and the bedlam that's going on in Afghanistan and where the Chinese sent this poison all over the planet? I mean, it's a frickin' demonic time. I think every Christian on the planet should swear going forward that they're going to do so much damage to the powers of darkness, that they're going to live with eternity and purpose in mind like never before, because he's out, man, and Satan's having a heyday. He's having a lot of fun, doing his dirty deeds. And every Christian should sit back and just absolutely meditate and think, how can they do maximum destruction to all the forces of hell?
Yep, that's the truth, And the reality, like for me, I'm a healthy person I'm not a gym rat, like my wife. I used to be, but I work out a little bit and I eat healthy. And, I'd already dropped, I don't know, 15 pounds and, so still got a little ways to go, a little weight to lose, but I'm a very active, healthy person. I go to the doctor every week. I'm on testosterone therapy, so I go every week, but I get blood work every 12 weeks. I'm good to go. I'm a healthy person. And I didn't feel sick, but I'm in the hospital and I'm watching my O2 monitor, my oxygen, which that's the number, and I'm watching it drop. I'm not sick. I feel fine. Everything's good to go. And that number keeps dropping. And they keep coming in and turning the oxygen up. And it sounds like, well, that's great. It's like, no, it's not great because they can only turn it up so high. So the doctor comes in, talks to me, and he says, I need to talk to you about a few things. I don't want you to read into them, but these are some questions you have to answer. I said, okay. He said, do you want to do not resuscitate? Or if you have heart failure or some other, do you want us to go ahead and massage your heart? And like on the movies when they get the paddles, he's super nice. I had a great doctor. I'm thankful to the Lord for the doctor I had. But I'm sitting there looking at this guy.
You should have, Rich, you should have told him that, say, listen, are you kidding me? Are we really having this conversation? And he's like, yeah, okay. It's like, here's what I want you to do. If this is going down and we can't jam this mother in reverse, I want you to pump helium into me because I want to be laughing my ass off as I leave this planet.
Well, Doug, I looked at him and he says, well, some people just want to be left alone. And I literally looked at him, Doug, and I said, hey, he goes, what? And I said, don't let me die. And he goes, okay. I said, no, I'm not kidding. I said, don't leave me alone. You do CPR on me and shock me with the paddle. Do whatever you got to do.
Heck yeah, man.
And he goes, okay. And he writes it down. Then he says, and if we get to that place, are you willing to be sedated and intubated, put on a ventilator? Bro. I can't even tell you. Bro,
So what'd you say?
Well, I thought about it because ventilator's pretty much a death sentence. I mean, you 2 out of 10, I believe, I'm not sure, make it, And my biggest fear is, hey, we're going to put you to sleep now and stick this tube down your neck and your throat and hope you make it. And it was terrifying. And I thought about it, but I thought this is what I thought, Doug. If they need to put me on a ventilator, it's because I'm dying. It's not because they're like, hey, it'd be fun right now? Like, it's literally, we can't get any more oxygen into you.
It'd be fun right
so now. We have to try to do this crazy thing because, And I told him, I said, yeah. And he goes, okay. And then he said, do you have a living will? And you know what I responded, Doug? I laughed. I go, why would I have that? And he looked at me and he goes, so you don't have one. And I realized, Doug, this is honest truth. I realized I don't have my life in order, bro. Like, I have where money goes and some stuff, but I don't have my life in order. And I realized that, the Bible says tomorrow's not promised to you. It doesn't have to be COVID. You die in a car accident. I ride a motorcycle. That increases the percentage dramatically. But I don't have my life in order. This guy's asking me a question because I'm in the hospital in danger, and I laugh, and I'm talking to him like he's stupid. And he's looking at me like, probably need to get your life in order. And that was a wake-up call for me, And obviously, I was already praying and stuff, but anyway, so my O2 kept dropping. Like I said, I felt great, but the number's going down. Oxygen's going up. Next thing you know, they got me on 7 liters. 7 liters is the highest level they can put you on free flow with the cannula, the little tubes in your nose. That's the highest that they can do. If that can't get your O2 up, then they put a mask on you. If that doesn't do it, it's the ventilator. So that's where we're at. And then I have sleep apnea, so I have to use a CPAP machine at night, which means I don't breathe. I'm a shallow breather. At night, I don't breathe at all. So they put oxygen into a CPAP, and at night, my oxygen, my O2 would drop. They would have to turn it up. Well, when it hit 7, and the people that came to my house that were going to go to Sturgis, It was pastors from our team. They canceled their trip and they stayed here and they fasted and prayed for me. So
It's awesome.
yeah, the church, people started praying. People around the world. My friends in the Philippines were praying, having prayer meetings online. They sent me recordings of them. Literally thousands of people. That's humbling too. It's really humbling that people would take their time, to pray for me. And so,
Yeah, can you imagine not having a decent network of people that give a crap and give a crap to an extent that they'll forego food and
Yeah.
just really lay into the scripture, really assault heaven on somebody's behalf. I'm telling you,
Yep.
man, it's a lonely, terrible, awful world if you're not plugged into the body of Christ and you
Yeah.
don't have a lot of good, solid Christian friends around you.
Yep.
Because again, I can't imagine being in frickin' ICU with this hoodoo voodoo, this poison from China, and you're alone, or you got maybe one or two kids that could or could not really give a crap about you. Folks, it's not a wise thing to live in isolation.
No.
It's not a wise thing to be the independent curmudgeon. You got to be around the body of Christ, because sometimes you're not a big needy type person, but all of us are going to get in some kind of crap sling altercation. And man, we need the BOC, the body of Christ there, raining thunder down on demons' heads with the promises of God. And
these pastors
again,
at my
it's
house,
great.
they would sit down and pray for me multiple times a day, pray for my healing. They're fasting, and my church was praying. Like I said, a lot of people. And then in the hospital, they found out I was a pastor, and everybody thought that was the greatest thing in the world, Christians and non-Christians. Like my pulmonary doctor came in and he said, this is when I was getting better. He said, wow, your oxygen's going down, your need for oxygen. That's great. I said, yeah, praise the Lord. He goes, praise somebody. And he didn't even mean it in a negative way. He just wasn't
Right.
a Christian, but he was agreeing with me even. It wasn't, it doesn't sound when I'm saying it how he said it.
Bro, I'm telling you, my doctor, Mary Margaret, and our doctor, man, he stayed on top of us, Rich.
Yep.
I mean, I've never been really a sickly type person. Don't really, go to the doctor that much. Never have my entire life. And so when we got the hoodoo voodoo, man, he's freaking texting me. He's like, "How you doing, buddy? Throughout the day, what do you need?
Yep.
And it's like, I've never had any doctor anywhere. When growing up in West Texas, 20 years in Miami, and we lived in Aventura, which is probably one of the greatest medical enclaves, at least on the eastern seaboard. And that didn't happen. Happened frickin' here. And
Yep.
the guy's an on fire Christian.
That's what I'm talking
And
about.
yeah, because to me, I've got a love-hate, man, with doctors, especially after what they did to my dad when he had the bladder cancer stuff. I mean, he was surrounded, not the whole time, but when he's going through all of his chemo and all of his treatment, he was surrounded with some gloomy ass, grim reaper type doctors who they almost had fun, Rich, telling me bad news and telling our family
That's
bad
weird.
news.
Weird.
Oh, it's weird as shit, man. It's macabre.
Yeah.
And they would come in when he was in hospice, when it was finally go time. And that year, I've flown back and forth from Miami to Lubbock 19 times because I thought, this is it. Mm-hmm. And so now he's low ebbing, and now they've moved him completely off all meds, which he got better, by the way. And but he's now in hospice. And so the head gray lady, kind of like you turned when you weren't able to breathe. This old gray lady comes in. She's the head of hospice. And she said, Doug, this is it for your father. And I mean, just talking to me like, hey, you want ham and cheese or a BLT? Just soulless, matter of fact, couldn't give two flibberty gibbets, what she just said and what it means to me, because I love my old man. And she's like, you need to go tell him goodbye. And I'm trying to catch a plane at 3, and it's 12. And so I go in there. I was like, Dad, this is it. We had a good run. You've been a great dad. It won't be long. I'll see you on the other side. Something like that. Starting to get choked up. My dad looked at me, Rich, and he goes, I don't feel like I'm going to die. Like, it's like, Dad, you are. Your feet are modeling. He goes, I'm not going to die. And I thought, the morphine's still in his system. He's kicking in. He's high as a kite. Dude, he walked out of there. He's the only person in 20 years when that Cruella de Vil's been in charge of the hospice unit at that hospital. He's the only person who walked out, lived another 2.5 years.
Whoa, that's
Dude,
awesome.
he looked at death. He looked at the bad report from the frickin' stupid nurse who's just jonesing for another one to bite the dust, and he says, "I'm not going to die. I don't feel
Right.
like it." Dude, that's
That's
cool.
See, that's the thing, is you do come face to face with that. And that's, so my oxygen, like I said, it was way up. My O2 levels were down. And like I said, I felt great, but my lungs are failing. I'm just watching this machine that's telling me, you're going to die. So I
So
would
what'd you
move,
do?
I would move in different positions, because you breathe better in different positions, right? I would move in different positions, do different things. Nah. One thing helped. Not kidding. Every single time, never failed one time. I would put my hand on my lungs. I would lay on my face on my bed. Like, I would sit forward and just put my face on my bed. And I would say, Jesus, be the breath in my lungs. And that number would start going up. Every single time, Doug. If I laid down like that, got in the same position, nothing. And trust me, I tried it 10 times. When I did that and I prayed, my O2 started going up. So I did some things. I think it's important to bring these up. I don't do deals with God. I've studied too much theology. I don't play with God. I don't pretend. I don't lie to myself. At least I do my best to not be deceived. And some people might not want to hear this, Doug, but I'm going to say it because it's true. I was scared to die. I didn't want to. I was afraid. I didn't want to die. I wasn't scared about eternity. I wasn't scared about Jesus. I was scared to die. And I just told the Lord, I don't want to die. I don't want to. And I had this crazy sense over my life that I have not finished what I was called to do. And there was no guilt. Like, I didn't feel guilty like I hadn't done what I was supposed to do. I didn't feel like I was so important that I couldn't die, because trust me, it was touch and go. And I knew that life would go on without me just like it does everybody else. And I just told the Lord, I said, I'm scared and I don't want to be scared. And I told him, I don't want to die. I just don't feel like I'm done. I feel like there's people that I'm supposed to help and I'm just not done. Settled that. Then I did an inventory on my life, and we'll talk about it on another podcast. I know you know, Doug, but there's heaven is like a legal system in the sense that if you have sin in your life, that's a legal argument that the devil has against you and can bring attacks against you. So I started taking an inventory of my life, because that's what you do when you're a Christian. And I started going down repenting of everything that I could think of, making sure that I wasn't handing the devil a legal argument that he could attack me. Canceled that, put it under the blood. Then I asked for the mercy of God, and I started praying, and we'll post on the links. I started praying specific verses that my wife sent me out loud as much as I could talk, praying these verses multiple times a day over my life. Powerful. And then Derek Prince has a series of messages he preached on the power of the blood of Jesus, and he has 5 confessions of the blood, and it's all based on the scripture, what it says and what the blood gives us. And so I would speak those confessions out of my mouth multiple times a day, pleading the blood of Jesus over my life. And so there was some serious moments there. And then when my air was up to 7, and I knew, and it was nighttime, and I knew that if I go to sleep, I'm going to need more air. They can't turn it up. They're going to put me in a mask. And I was like, I can't do that. This is the turning point. This is the battle. So what I did is I laid on my face. I laid on my stomach on my bed. I put some songs that were all about breathing and the breath of God on my phone, right here by my head. And I laid on my face there, and I prayed from 8:30 at night till 6:30 in the morning. And I dozed off a couple times, but I was in that place where you're half asleep, half awake praying. And I wasn't asking the Lord to heal me. I was trying to get to God. I just felt like I needed to get there. And then Sunday, I heard this great message by Casey Treat, amazing preacher. And he said something interesting. He said, Jehovah Rapha means God is our healer. And he said, stop going to God trying to get healed. He's not a God who does some nice things for people sometimes. Healing is not what he does. It's who he is. He is healer. You don't need to get there and talk him into it. It's who he is. He said, you just have to get there. Stop begging him to do something and just get where he is, because he is healer. He said, it's almost like if you could sneak up on him, if you could sneak up on God and you could get close enough to touch him, you could get healed. That could happen. He goes, because it did with the woman with the issue of blood. Because Jesus was limited, she snuck up on him and touched the hem of his garment and received healing immediately. And he said, who touched me? Because he didn't know. And he said, that's not because Jesus heals. It's because Jesus is healer. He is healing. He said, and if you're saying, heal me, heal me, heal me, you don't know him. Your job is to get as close as you can. And so I heard that sermon later, but that applied to what I went through that night, because I felt like that night, Doug, that was the battle. That was the war. And I, led by the Spirit, was only in the presence of God for 10 hours straight. And I woke up in the morning. They turned my air down to 5, turned it down to 4, turned it down to 3. And I was like, let's go. Then they came in and said, so my inflammatory markers, why they thought I had blood clots, was 4.6. It's supposed to be at 1. So the next day it was 2.6. Then it was 1.6. Then it was 1.6. I was like, yeah, we're getting there, right? They were talking about sending me home. That night after I prayed, 4.7. My inflammatory markers were worse than when I came in. And you want to talk about a crushing blow? Bro, I was so discouraged. I almost cried. I couldn't believe it. I was just so devastated. And you know what? The verse that came in my mind, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And I literally looked at that number on the board. I was in the room by myself. And I said, that's a shadow. It's a lie of the devil that I'm not being healed, because I am being healed, because that number right there says there's oxygen in my body. I said, that's a lie of the devil, and I do not receive it. And I'm not some person in denial. And my faith, I don't do that denial stuff. My doctor came in, Doug. I don't know that he's a believer. It's a Chinese guy. His name's Dr. Ta, amazing doctor. He looked at the board and he goes, you see this number? I said, yeah. And he says, that's discouraging. He said, but let me tell you something. I don't even care about that number. We're done with that. We're not even testing that anymore. And he was mad. And I was like looking at him and he said, you didn't come to the hospital because your inflammatory markers were up. You came to the hospital because you couldn't breathe. Look at your O2. Look at your oxygen requirement. We are on the right path. You are getting better. Forget that number. My doctor came in and literally said what I said in faith 2 hours before that. Next day I was out of there, bro. And I'm so thankful. That night when I was praying, Doug, I could feel that the breath in my lungs was the breath of God. I literally feel like my body couldn't do it. I couldn't get any air, man. And I feel like the breath of God literally came in me, and I could feel the Lord sustaining me on my The Bible says on your sick bed and you will recover, it says. And I could also feel physically like I was being lifted by the prayers of everyone who was praying for me. And that's how I rested from 8:30 at night till 6:30 in the morning. It was one of the most incredible things. It was terrifying, but it was incredible at the same time. And so, because people prayed and because of God's grace, here I am. Lungs are diminished. I'm on oxygen at night, but I'm at my house. I'm on recovery, building my lungs. I'm going to be 100%. And God kept me alive. And it wasn't for nothing. It's not for nothing. I'm going to do what he put me on the earth to do, and I'm going to help the people that I'm supposed to help.
So when you're moving around the house and stuff, is it quasi-normal, or is it still pretty debilitated, or?
This morning, I got up, made some breakfast, did all that regular stuff with no oxygen, and I sat down, and I was still at 91, so it was really good. That's the first day that I've really been able to walk around without the oxygen. So I'm at that place where that's okay. I have an oxygen generator at my house, and I have some bottles in case I go somewhere that I'm supposed to take it with me. They don't want me to get stuck somewhere and have my oxygen drop. But I'm doing my stupid breathing things. It's annoying. I set my alarm, and I'm doing them because I'm trying to build my lungs. Trying to be faithful to do my part, and I'm resting. That's what they want me to do, So I lost 8 pounds of muscle in the hospital. That was pretty discouraging, but the body's an amazing thing. So you got to figure muscle is so taxing on your oxygen. And because I had acute respiratory failure, my body was like, we don't need this muscle. We're trying to live. And literally burned muscle like that, bro. Gone. And Annie couldn't believe it when she saw me. But the good thing, I've gained 5 of those pounds back. I feel good. I do not feel sick. I'm just winded when I talk. Obviously, people can hear that in my voice. I'm happy. I'm confident in the Lord. I'm excited to be alive. I'm excited about life. I'm not sad. I wasn't sad in the hospital. In the hospital, I was in a war for my life, and it was spiritual. But I had literally, bro, thousands of people praying for me. And people that say, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. That is absolutely not true. It's not biblical. That is not true. When you pray, things happen.
I like it when David was, his ship was sailing. He's old. It looks like, he's done. Fat lady standing up. She's getting ready to sing on his life. And they're like, hold on, let's see if he's really dying or not. And so one of my favorite stories in the scripture. So they get this hot young chick named Abishag, and they toss her in bed with David. And then when David doesn't make a move for her, the King James posits it, David got no heat. That's when they came to the conclusion, yeah, he's dying. He's dying. Mm-hmm. He didn't make a move for Abishag. So yeah. So he's. Yeah. I don't know if you do that and you learn that in medical school, but that's.
Well, did you know at that time, a lot of different cultures actually did that when they were trying to keep their kings alive, and David obviously didn't have sex with her; he's not capable. I mean, he was dying. But did you know that they did that and they could keep their kings alive longer to get the kingdoms in order?
Oh,
and that was actually common around a lot of different cultures at that time. Pretty interesting.
It's common sense, man. I tell my kids all the time, tell Mary Margaret, it's like, listen, if things go to hell in a handbasket, okay, and I hope we can keep our property here because we've got a glorious piece of dirt and we've got 2 houses, so I could be over here, being a pain in the ass. Mary Margaret could be over there, not having to deal with my crap. And I go, but, if it gets down to this whole assisted living stuff, do not send me to an old folks home. I want you to send me to like a college cheerleader camp or something like that. Because I guarantee I'm going to resurrect. Though there will be a spark, unless it's just over.
Right.
Just like it was with David.
Well, something,
we're glad to have
something
you.
that I think is important is I've been in 3 active terrorist attacks. I've been in 2 military coup in countries. No, 3 military coup attempts. 2 in Philippines, 1 in Myanmar. The Myanmar one was really dangerous. The Philippines ones were pretty crazy. It's next to my hotel. I've had an assassin hired to kill me. And in all of those situations, though, even times that I was a little bit scared, I felt like I had some control over my destiny. Like I felt like I could try to live, if that makes sense. In this situation, my life was literally in the hand of the Lord. There wasn't one thing I could do other than get close. Nothing. You want to talk about feeling how fragile we are and really knowing and understanding that our life really is in the hands of the Lord? I felt that. My old pastor used to say this: sickness in a man's body will humble him like nothing else. And in that moment, you realize the breath in my lungs is the Lord. That's the thing that separates us from the animals. He breathed the breath of life into man, and he became a living soul. And that's from God. So even the ability to breathe is an amazing thing from the Lord, and the power of the blood over our lives. And so, like I said, I'll put the confessions of the blood and the verses on the link so you guys can get those. But man, we need healing. We need to get to Jesus, and we need to pray for each other. So thank you guys that were praying for me too.
Amen, brother. Well, we're glad to have you back, big dog. And like I said, it's bad news bears for the powers of darkness, because we're here. We're not afraid.
Yep.
We've made it through the storm. God has proven himself, faithful again. And it's time to start counterpunching.
Yep.
Because like I said, Satan's having a big old hee-haw time right now with all the frickin' carnage that he's accomplished with the Chinese Communist Party and all the draconian overlords that have foisted this bioterrorism upon the planet. And instead of the church curling up in the fetal position and obeying Fauci and running for their damn lives, I think we ought to, reflectively ask the Lord, how can we throttle the powers of darkness? How can we deliver this thing called a holy payback? And how do we posit ourselves in these kooky days to be the tip of the spear in what he wants done in this planet? Because it's aside from the COVID stuff, man, there are so many things. The world is in upheaval, and man, the church has got to be living with their holy ears on, and also physically being packed, stacked, and ready to whack, because it's on, folks.
Yep.
We've got a president who gives zero shits about our nation. He's turned his back upon us. He's turned his back on people that are stranded over there in Kabul, and he's opened the border down here in Texas. Rich, it's flipping mayhem.
It's insanity.
You've got Democratic mayors and congressmen and senators that are railing against Biden down here for the millions of people, infected people, that he's inundated the cities, especially down in the Rio Grande Valley. So we need you, buddy. Bounce back up. Lord, completely heal Rich's spongy lungs and make them iron cast and solid and full of nothing but holy CO2 or whatever it is, testicular fortitude. And we pray for every other person that's still suffering with this garbage, and for loved ones who, lost people over this just unbelievable, again, poison sent by the Chinese Communist Party. So,
and the greatest thing that we can do at any time in history to crush the devil is to live a life worthy of the calling that's on our lives, and to be a witness, and to win souls and make disciples, because the ultimate war for eternity is about winning souls. And there's too many Christians that they think their stupid Facebook posts and crap are them standing up for the truth. And it's like, well, the 3 people that see your page don't give 2 rips because you're stupid. And so stop thinking that social media replaces the call to win souls and make disciples. If you're not sharing the truth of the gospel, don't post a bunch of stupid crap on social media, because there are people who know the real you. So we see your real life, then people see you on Facebook and think, whoa, man, that guy's hardcore. It's like, great. How many people have you won to Jesus? None. Shut up. Like, I'm done with Christians talking about, politics and then the vaccine and blah, blah, blah. Nobody's going to make me and nobody's going to tell me and the government's not going to blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, really? Yeah. So your result with all your freedom is to win how many people to Jesus? Oh, 0? Shut up. We don't care if you're free or not. It makes no difference to the world if you're free or in prison. It makes no difference to the world if you're alive or dead. You don't do anything for the kingdom. You don't win any souls. You don't make any disciples. So what good are you on our side? You're a talker. We don't need talkers. We need doers. Go get somebody saved or shut up. Get somebody saved or shut up. Lead somebody to Jesus or shut the hell up. I don't care. I can copy Fox News and put that crap all over my Facebook page. It means nothing. So sick of that stuff. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Christians are the freaking worst.
Evidently. we had these 2 guys, man, in Miami. Good-looking kids. I mean, just freaking handsome, model, kind of Abercrombie type, dudes. And they started coming to the church, and they're like, "Hey, Doug," it's like, "Hey, buddy," it's like, "Yeah, man, we want you to mentor us." And I was like, "You want me to mentor you? Oh, goody." I said, "I tell you what, before we get into deep mentoring, all right, here's what I want you to do." And they're like, "Yes." It's like, "You listening?" "Yes, yes." They lean in. I go, "I want you in 1 year to lead one person to Christ and get him solid in the faith, planted in our church. And then after you get one person in 1 year converted and secure, then we will start the mentoring process." Guess who never frickin' showed up at my church again?
Right. Yeah, you know why? Because Christians want to be known as Christians for what they don't do. It's like, I don't say bad words and I don't watch radio.
Adamant, man.
Jesus,
don't drink.
Jesus was not known
said,
for what he didn't do.
You don't drink, you don't smoke. What do you do?
What do you do? Yeah, but see, Jesus wasn't known for what he didn't do. He's known for what he did. These stupid Christians think they're known for the crap they post on social media. Go get somebody saved. Tell somebody about Jesus. Like I'm literally, you want to know something? My wife, obviously I'm an intense person. Some days I can wear her out. I came home, we started looking at some things on TV, and I got fired up, bro. Like fired up. Like I got oxygen on and I'm yelling at the TV, and she goes, whoa, take it easy. It's just a small thing. I said, it's not a small thing. It's a big thing. It's a problem in our culture. It's a problem. She goes, hey, I thought you were going to be a little bit more. I said, well, you thought wrong. I said, you know what I am? I'm focused. 100%. Sharpened like a razor's edge. Don't make the mistake of thinking because my lungs don't have the volume to push the air. Don't make the mistake of thinking that I'm weak. I didn't not die for nothing. And I sure as hell did not die so I go play church and go play social media. People are getting saved. People are getting discipled. People are going to live their destiny. That's why I'm alive.
Yeah, here's
my lungs are working now, baby.
Yeah, I think you're
I'm fired up, bro.
Better.
I'm getting better as we're talking.
I think it's interesting that Jesus spent his whole life engaging the people that most Christians have spent their whole lives avoiding.
Exactly.
Hey, man, what do we got to do, man? Aside from thank the prayer warriors for laying down, some Holy Ghost shrapnel and beating back demons and all kinds of other stuff for you. What is the Warriors and Wildmen listener? What do they got to do?
Go to warriorsandwildmen.com, subscribe, like us, love us, follow us. It's free. You can catch us on social media anywhere that we're still up, and you can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcasts. But go ahead and subscribe on warriorsandwildmen.com. We can send you a couple emails a week. That way we can stay in contact with you. And if you want to help support us, hit the war chest. That helps support the ministry and make it happen. It's tax deductible. We'll send you that information too. Warriors and Wildmen.